Hi, this is Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite game mechanism in Yorvik. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. It has a J, but I think it's a Jorvik sound. Yorvik is by Stefan Feld, and it's based on another Stefan Feld game, the Speakerstadt, combined with an expansion to Speakerstadt called, I can't remember the expansion. I haven't played that expansion. But Yorvik combines the two into one with a really clever thing where, like, if you fold the board over, you only play the base game basically, or you can fold the board out completely, and the second half of it creates the expansion. I played this the other day. I played Speakerstadt a lot, and it's a solid game. It has a clever mechanism that I'll talk about in a second. But Jorvik really took it to a new level, and I really enjoyed my play of it. It's an auction game that looks like a worker placement game. And the core mechanism is that a bunch of cards come out every round, and you choose one of those cards, and you put your meeple in a line in the front of the line next to one of those cards, or you put it, if other meeples are already down, you put it behind a meeple that's already there. At the end of the round, after all the meeples are placed, the person in the front of the line gets the first chance to buy each card. You do them in order, card by card, and the cost of buying that card is the number of meeples that are in line. So if I'm the first guy in line and there are 3 meeples behind me, that means there are a total of 4 meeples in line, and so the cost of that card would be 4 money. Money is very tight and very important in this game. Jorvik adds a really cool mechanism that I think it was in the expansion to Speakerstadt, which is in addition to having cards in a line where you line up to get a card, there's also a row of cards where you simply put your meeple on that card and you are the only one that can buy it. No one else can get in line. But the card itself and the meeple on it moves to a new line, and at the end of the round, similarly to the other cards that are being bought, for every card in that line, in this expansion line, the cost is equal to the number of meeples in that entire line. So say there are 3 cards in that line at the end of the round, each one with a different meeple on it, 1 meeple on each. If I'm the first one in line, my card costs 3 coins. So the overarching element here, and the mechanism that is just brilliant, is that it gives players as much player agency as they want. Agency is the idea in the game of how much control you have over your choices and the things you do in that game. Are you relying on luck or external factors or other players to guide your decisions and give you your choices? Or do you have full agency or more agency to decide what you want? And Speakerstadt does that brilliantly. It balances agency with cost. Because if you really want a card, you will put your meeple first in line, or you'll put your meeple on the card where no one else can claim it. If you're first in line, you get the first pick. But by choosing high agency or 100% agency there, you are giving up control over the cost, because other players can then put their meeples down behind you. You can even put your own meeple down behind you to increase the cost for those other players, in the hopes that you might you might give up on your first meeple, you might pass, but you might then get to another meeple in line. So this is just really clever in an auction game, that you have that much agency over your decisions. You're not not relying on the other players to make those decisions for you. Now, cost, of course, does factor into that decision quite a bit. You may only have 3 coins, and so you may go first in line in the hopes that only 1 or 2 people might go behind you, but you really don't have control over whether or not they do that. And that's the push and pull of the game. That's the tension. Do you wait to put your meeple down for something that you really want and hope the cost goes down? Or if there's something that you just absolutely need, that's necessary for your strategy, do you go first in line and hope that you get it? Or do you go first in line and just hope that no one at all goes behind you? There are some cards that end up being less desirable depending on the game state, and you might go after them. And in particular, the thing that elevated Jorvik for me was the second line of cards, where you put your meeple down and no one else can do it. No one else can put a meeple there, but people can affect the cost. So there's this wonderful tension there. If you see a card in that line that you really want, do you go after it right away, or do you hope that maybe one or two other players can choose cards from that line first, therefore decreasing your cost in the end because there are fewer cards to go after your card in that line? Really, really clever. I love those two complementary mechanisms, those two complementary auction mechanisms that give you the choice of high agency or low cost. Really, really clever. And I should add one other thing. It's also really fun in this game just to increase cost for other players. Because sometimes your money is so tight, you might only be able to buy one card or maybe two. And so some of your meeples are just going to be used to increase the cost for other players so that they can't buy all the stuff they want. And it doesn't come across as a spite play. Like you're not, even though it's a pretty direct interaction, you're not spitefully hurting other players. It's just you're kind of keeping an even playing field by making sure that no one can just run away and buy 4 cards for $1 each every round, which would have someone run away with the game. So it isn't perceived as a problem if you increase the cost for someone else, even though they may be frustrated in that moment. Really, really clever game. I love the agency. If you'd love to share a game, an auction game in particular, where you have a choice of agency over price, I'd love to hear it. Or other games where you have that choice of high, where agency is truly a choice in the game. It's not just a set level based on what the game's designer has decided. All right, thanks. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Bye.